Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Today we're going to be reviewing Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That funny was so moving. So you guys may not actually know this, but I have been a huge King Kong fan like my whole life. And I just had to buy the King Kong cup when I went to AMC and I saw they had a cup for Kong, Godzilla, and Scar King. I may go back and buy the Godzilla cup eventually, but I've always been a big fan of Kong, so I just had to pick me up a Kong cup. You know, it's got Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire on it. But yeah, you guys probably don't know this about me. Um, I watch a lot of movies, um, and there's not a whole lot of black and white films that I've seen. Don't watch a whole lot of films from like the the 50s and 60s or 40s. I don't even know what the oldest film would be, to be honest. But there's just not a whole lot of films that I've watched before like the 70s. I got well, there's a few films I guess I've seen from like the 60s, but like most of the films I've seen are either going to be like 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, all the films that my parents either grew up watching and they had on DVDs where I was able to watch them, or the films I grew up watching on television, like all the Disney Channel original movies, like High School Musical, Camp Rock and Hannah Montana the movie, and uh, people say they know like Austin Butler from the movies nowadays, but wasn't Austin Butler the the kid that Hannah Montana was crushing on, or like was trying to? Yeah, I believe so. Like she had the song where she had two guys crushing on her, where she was like trying to choose the guy. I remember that episode. Isn't I believe Austin Butler was one of those guys. I believe he was in Hannah Montana. So like people say they know or they know Austin Butler from like Elvis, or I guess the new Dune movie, or he's been in a lot of films. But I know him as that dude in Hannah Montana, the dude that she was crushing on, or one of the two dudes that she was crushing on. There's not a whole lot of black and white films I've seen though, and there's only two that I can think of actually, and one of them is the 1933, not the 1976 Godzilla, or yeah, was it 76? I think it was 76. Or not Godzilla. I said Godzilla. I mean King Kong. Wasn't it wasn't there a 1976 film? Yeah. Yeah, not the 1976 film starring Jeff Bridges. Not that one. But the very original King Kong film. The 1933 film. I have seen that. And I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good for being a film from 1933. You know. So I have seen the original King Kong, but to this day, my favorite King Kong film that has ever been made is obviously the Peter Jackson iteration. The one starring Jack Black, right there. Yeah, this is my favorite iteration of King Kong. I even have, you may not be able to see it in this yellow cover, but I even have a PlayStation 2 copy of the King Kong video game. I don't have a case for it because, I bought it at a GameStop as a pre-owned game. It's one of my pre-owned games I own. But yeah, I love the Peter Jackson King Kong. One of the most one of the most terrifying movies I remember watching when I was younger. I don't even remember when this came out. When did this come out? 2003. So yeah, it came out when I was 5. I was 5 when that came out. So that's my favorite King Kong film right here. But with the new Monsterverse being out, and starting with the 2014 Godzilla, and then moving on to the 2017 King Kong, which actually takes place in the year like 1973, I think, is what I remember from the Monarch series. And then, they had the 2019 Godzilla King of Monsters, and 2021, I believe, is when Godzilla vs. Kong came out, which actually takes place in the year 2024, like this year, I think. And then this movie, Godzilla X Kong, just came out, but it takes place 3 years ahead of us, so it's in 2027, I believe, is the timeline for like the Monsterverse movies. But yeah, since these have come out, and since like the Monarch TV series have come out on Apple TV, which I just watched all those, I just reacted to all those. The first 4 episodes are out now, and the last 6 will be coming out in the next week or two. So be looking out for all of those. And if you haven't seen my Monarch reactions for the first 4 episodes, you can go back and watch those now. I'll link a card to my playlist right here. And yeah, you can go back and watch those. But yeah, since the Monsterverse has started, like, yeah, it's a pretty great like film series, or film and TV series, I guess. It's a pretty great series of media. But is it as good as the Peter Jackson King Kong? In my opinion, I don't think so. I still think the Peter Jackson King Kong is my favorite, and will most likely always be my favorite. But for what they've done and what they've tried to pull off, I think Godzilla X Kong is like the peak of the Monsterverse. And I hope that if Adam Wingard does a third Monsterverse movie, that it's not actually another team up movie, not another Godzilla and Kong movie. I love them, but I hope that if Adam Wingard does another film in the Monsterverse movie after he gets done doing his, Pussycats movie or whatever that movie is, that he's going to work on now, of the old animated TV series of the same name. What is it? Thundercats. is it Thundercats or I called it Pussycats, didn't I? I think it's Thundercats, isn't it? Yeah, Thundercats. That's 1985 animated series. So yeah, it's Thundercats. I think he's going to work on a live action Thundercats movie, and then he says he's gonna come back to the Monsterverse possibly. So when he does that, I pray to God that it's a solo Mothra movie. A solo Mothra movie would be epic. Like, I love his style of filming. Um, I loved the scene where Mothra shows up in Godzilla X Kong, and I think that if he did a full Mothra movie, oh, that would be the greatest thing. Like we've just not gotten a movie about us, like another solo movie about another Titan. All we've gotten is Godzilla, or all we've gotten is King Kong. But what if we had a full solo movie about another Titan? And what if it was Mothra? Like the Queen of Monsters, she deserves a solo movie, does she not? She's beautiful. She's gorgeous, stunning. I, I, I was just overwhelmed when she showed up on screen. Like this giant, beautiful butterfly titan on the big screen. It was beautiful. It was just overwhelming, and I hoped, or I wish that there was just a full movie like that, you know? Um, it would be beautiful. I think it's a great idea. Myself, anyway. But let's get into the review for Godzilla X Kong. Or or what I like to call it, Kong's New Groove, because it's not it's not a Godzilla film. Godzilla X Kong may have Godzilla, at the beginning of the title, but it's not really a Godzilla film. This is a King Kong film. This is King Kong going to Hollow Earth trying to find his family, and when he does find his family, he real or find his you know like other, like, finds his species, finds others from his species. He realizes, that, oh, this is not good. Like, was I supposed to find these people here? This leader here is not a good guy. And then he has to go get Godzilla's help from above ground and bring Godzilla into Hollow Earth. And when he does that, Godzilla, when Godzilla hears Kong for the first time and like does that dive into the water, that was phenomenal CGI right there. Like, seeing Godzilla dive from above into the water, that was fucking epic. Fucking epic that scene was. But even better was when he finally sees King Kong, and King Kong's like trying to lead him into the portal, and then Godzilla just like tackles him instead, and they start fighting right there in Cairo. That's the best fight scene we've gotten between those two titans, right? That's the best fight scene in my opinion. Was that scene in Cairo was like just as good as the entire Godzilla versus Kong movie. that one sequence in Cairo was just as good as the entire Godzilla versus Kong movie, in my opinion. Was that one scene. And like I said, it was fucking phenomenal. Seeing Godzilla just fucking book it towards King Kong and then tackle him to the ground. And Kong was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then, like, kind of got scared when he saw Godzilla, like, booking it to him. That was fucking amazing. I loved it so much. Like, that happens. But, like, King Kong also, like, gets a badass metal tooth and a metal arm from the probably like greatest veterinarian, to ever live. Like, imagine being a veterinarian for Titans. That sounds like a dream job right there. Getting to like take care of Titans and you know be there for these giant living creatures. This sounds awesome. Just getting to be around these giant titans all the time, especially King Kong. He seems like a great guy to be around. But he gets a badass metal tooth and a badass arm, and then he gets well. Actually, it may not be a metal tooth. It may be like a silver tooth, but he gets metal arm. He gets like a metal bumblebee arm. Like when he first climbs out of the portal with his arm, it looks like a scene from Transformers. It looks like a scene from of Bumblebee. Um, so he gets those two, but he also finds a son in all Hollow Earth. He just kidnaps this child ape, and adopts him. Basically, he adopts a new son. And then he finds a new home full of other Titan apes, and he has to take out the bad leader and prove that he's the king of the apes. He's King Kong. He has to prove his worth. He is King Kong. This is King Kong's film. Godzilla's just there for helping King Kong. Like, this is King Kong's film, and it was amazing. I recommend you guys go watch it in theaters if you can. Yeah, there were some really cool moments with Godzilla, like him just at the beginning going around killing titans and powering himself up and turning into a purple like aesthetic, like he's got like a purple theme now. So that was really cool. But yeah, most of the really badass scenes have to involve King Kong, or King Kong and Godzilla together fighting, like either fighting each other or fighting Scar King. Couldn't think of his name. Scar King. And then like King Kong's adopted son like joining into the fight as well. Yeah, it was just a great film. Loved it. I loved it. Loved this a lot better than Godzilla vs. Kong. Which, speaking of Godzilla vs. Kong, the biggest complaint I have about Godzilla vs. Kong is Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree Henry's character arcs in that film. I just think that was just a waste of space, and they could have, showed a lot of other really important, really cool scenes between Godzilla and Kong, or had like a longer fight scene between Godzilla and Kong and Mechagodzilla. I think they could have done a whole lot more if they just cut out the entire Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree Henry arc. But with that being said, Brian Tyree Henry is in this film as well. He is in Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and his character's a whole lot better in this film. I enjoy him a whole lot more. I think he's a lot funnier in this film. I think he kind of actually he kind of plays like the comic relief character, kind of like I can't think of his name, but the what is he? I think he's Mexican. The Mexican guy from um uh not Jumanji, Journey. Journey 2. I had to think of which one it was. It was one of the four Dwayne Johnson jungle movies, you know. Uh, Journey 2. Louis Guzman is his name. I think Brian Tyree Henry's character is sort of like Louis Guzman's character in Journey to the Mysterious Island. And I enjoyed his character, like, just in nature, like him exploring Hollow Earth and stuff. I enjoyed that a lot more than him trying to investigate Monarch and sneak into Monarch and figure out Mecha Godzilla and all that. Like, I enjoyed his arc a lot more in this film than the last film. Um oh, and then the only other thing that I didn't really understand from the film, or like I liked the visual aesthetic of the girl. I can't think of her name, but the girl that can speak to or can sign language to Kong. Um she starts seeing visions at the beginning of the movie at some point, and they think they're connected to like uh something down in Hollow Earth. Not like at that point they don't know if it's like King Kong or Godzilla or Mothra or something, but they think something is calling her down to Hollow Earth for help. Um so like that psychic activity that she has going on in her mind there for a moment, like that's the only scene we see. Like she doesn't have it the rest of the movie. Of course, she eventually goes into Hollow Earth, and so she explores Hollow Earth and like leads to the answer of why she was getting those psychic activities in her mind. But I'm still very confused on the psychic activity itself. Like, I don't know how that worked. She was above ground being called to help from Hollow Earth, but she was seeing all these visions and seeing like, or like drawing these weird lines and stuff. Like I just, that was all very confusing and all just very strange and weird. Which I know there was a lot of strange things in the Monarch TV series on Apple as well, but that's the strangest we've gotten from the Monsterverse. So I'm still not really for sure about that whole thing. But I enjoyed the rest of the movie. I enjoyed the fight between Godzilla and Kong on Cairo. I enjoyed Kong beating everyone's ass with his giant bumblebee metal arm, you know. Um yeah, like even the cup, like it's got a bumblebee color to it. Like um so yeah, I think that's going to be my the end. Yeah, I think that's going to be my review for Godzilla X Kong. I hope you enjoyed. Um watch out for my reviews for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. That's also gonna be released. Like I had just recorded it, so I'm recording these at the same time. So watch out for that review as well. And then watch out for my Monkey Man review, which will be coming out later next week sometime after I go watch it this weekend. I'll be on vacation this weekend, so it probably won't be till like Sunday or Monday when I'm able to watch it. I don't know when that review will be out, but it will be out next week at some point. And then all of my Monarch series reactions will be out, so keep an eye out for all that, and I will see you guys later. All right, bye bye.